Well, staying dry as we head into our Thursday night, but extra clouds on the increase and temperatures only dipping down into the mid-40s overnight. We'll start our Friday dry, but chilly rain on the way, arriving by lunchtime, and it'll be with us for the rest of our Friday. So your Friday evening plans will be wet, and it'll be chilly too, with high temperatures only near 50 tomorrow. A lingering shower as we kick off the weekend on Saturday morning, then we'll dry it out. We're in the 60s for the rest of the weekend. That's your forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
When you have problems with your heating system, you need SHA Mechanical. Serving the region since 1975, SHA will make sure your system always stays in the best condition. Visit SHA Mechanical online at shamechanical.com.
Thought-provoking conversations and informed perspectives.
It's meant for everyday people to understand, and you don't have to stress about technical terms and stuff. They just say it like a real person.
WSIC News Talk Now. Leaders, top stories, the news that matters most to you. The News Drive at 5 with host Patrick Reynolds starts now.
Welcome to the News Drive at 5 here on WSIC News Talk Radio. I'm Patrick Reynolds alongside you on this Thursday, Leap Day, February 29th, 2024, 5:06 p.m. Eastern Time. Thank you all for tuning in and joining our radio family. You just heard Dollars and Cents with Joshua Doby, the president of North Main Financial out of Cornelius. Dollars and Cents every Thursday right here at 4 p.m. Eastern Time on WSIC News Talk, hosted by Joshua Doby, president of North Main Financial, also former Lake Norman Chamber of Commerce chair on the board of directors for Kane Center of the Arts. Very community involved. Big thanks to Joshua Doby and North Main Financial for all they do for the community. Here on the News Drive at 5, our top 5 at 5 stories that we are working on for you tonight. A Davidson businesswoman has been arrested on felony tax charges. A Statesville man is facing drug charges. Lincoln County is gearing up for next week's primary. Lowe's Home Improvement reports a drop in fourth quarter sales. And a Statesville High School student is crowned Miss Blue Ridge Valley Teen. All this and more coming up on the News Drive at 5 with your local headlines and news stories. 844-STUDIO-4. Get your voice heard on the air with us. 844-788-3464. One more time, 844-788-3464. 844-STUDIO-4. Give us a call. Love to hear from you. Our top story tonight that we are tracking for you, Davidson businesswoman Trudy Zangardi has been arrested on felony tax charges filed by the North Carolina Department of Revenue. Zangardi was charged with 3 counts of aid and abet embezzlement of state property. Indictments allege that Zangardi, sole member of the Zan Group, aided and abetted 3 businesses to embezzle, misapply, and convert to its own use approximately $59,700 in sales tax from January 1st, 2020 through March 31st, 2022. She is the owner-operator of the Lake Norman Cottage and the Cabin, as well as the Barrel in Mooresville. Zangardi appeared before a Mecklenburg County magistrate and was placed under a $50,000 unsecured bond. A first appearance is scheduled for March 15th in Wake County Superior Court in Raleigh. The charges against Zangardi resulted from an investigation by special agents with the Department of Criminal Investigations Division in Raleigh. A Statesville man faces felony drug charges after being apprehended by an Iredell County Sheriff's Office deputy following a pursuit. Sheriff Darren Campbell announced the arrest of Charles Smith Jr. of East Broad Street in Statesville. Deputy Sharp, who is assigned to the Iredell County Sheriff's Office Aggressive Criminal Enforcement Team, observed a motorcycle traveling east on Salisbury Road with no working taillights and a passenger who was not wearing a helmet. This all happened earlier this week. When Deputy Sharp got behind the motorcycle, the driver made eye contact and accelerated at a high rate of speed. Smith, who driving the motorcycle stopped on Old Salisbury Road. At that time, the deputy learned that Smith had a suspended driver's license and the registration plate displayed on the rear of the motorcycle was fictitious. During the traffic stop, Sergeant Line and K-9 Wilbur arrived on the scene to provide assistance to the deputy. K-9 Wilbur indicated on the motorcycle and the belongings of the driver and passenger. The deputies searched the items and located over 2.7 grams of cocaine, 1.28 grams of methamphetamine, and 3.28 grams of marijuana. The female passenger was issued a citation for failing to wear a helmet and released from the traffic stop. Smith was placed under arrest and transported to the Iredell County Detention Center, where he was brought before Magistrate Callejas, who issued no bond on the charges of felony possession of cocaine, felony possession of methamphetamine, felony maintaining a vehicle for a controlled substance, 3 misdemeanor drug offenses, and 4 motor vehicle infractions. A judge set the bond at $100,000. And I believe we have a caller on the line. Producer Joe, why don't you tee him up? Hello, caller. You are on the News Drive at 5. And I guess we've lost our caller? Evidently. Okay. If that was you, please, whoever you were, please call in. We'd love to hear from you again. Give us a call at 844-STUDIO-4, 844-788-3464. Back to the News Drive at 5 headlines. An update from a story that we reported on earlier this week. In Huntersville, crews responded around 11 p.m. last Saturday night to a wooded area near exit 23, Gilead Road, off of I-77, and found a single vehicle overturned. At the time, officials said no driver or patients were found after an extensive search that included looking inside and under the vehicle. Yesterday, officials said that an operator was found on a side street not far from the scene. It is unknown at this time what led up to the crash and if any other vehicles were involved. This is a developing story. We will continue to bring you updates here on the News Drive at 5. In Mooresville, a giant sinkhole in the parking lot of Tire Masters, a much-loved local business, is forcing it to close its doors for good. Tire Masters has served the Mooresville community for nearly 3 decades, but in September of 2020, a massive sinkhole opened in its parking lot when a metal pipe and culvert system failed underground. The pipe burrowed through 50,000 tons of Duke Energy coal ash, which is called structural fill, which is the equivalent of more than 4,000 large dump truck loads. This was done to redirect 500 feet of an all-season creek under North Carolina 150. The creek was then redirected above ground and into a Lake Norman tributary, a source for drinking water for millions of people. In Denver, in the first ever partisan Lincoln County Board of Education election, only one of the 4 seats up for grabs will require a primary to determine a party's candidate. Incumbent Heather Ryan is being challenged by Ann Samuelson for the Republican nomination to fill the open at-large seat on the board. Also in Denver, the Lincoln County Board of Commissioners hasn't seen a Democrat elected since 1998, and that trend will continue in 2024. The lack of a Democratic challenger means the top 3 finishers from the field of 7 in the Tuesday, March 5th Republican primary will be elected to the board. Incumbents Carol Mitchum and Anita McCall are each seeking another term, while former long-term Commissioner Alex Patton is back in the mix, and the likes of Glenn Fiskus, Mark Mullen, Robert Avery, and Trent Carpenter are eager to serve for the first time. We have more headlines for the News Drive at 5 coming up. We're celebrating this leap day, February 29th, 2024, 5:14 p.m. on the East Coast. More headlines coming up, including Raleigh, Mooresville, Lincoln County, and more. Patrick Reynolds taking you home. WSIC will be back.
The News Drive at 5 will be back shortly on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC. Local starts here.
Well, staying dry as we head into our Thursday night, but extra clouds on the increase and temperatures only dipping down into the mid-40s overnight. We'll start our Friday dry, but chilly rain on the way, arriving by lunchtime, and it'll be with us for the rest of our Friday. So your Friday evening plans will be wet, and it'll be chilly too, with high temperatures only near 50 tomorrow. A lingering shower as we kick off the weekend on Saturday morning. Then we'll dry it out. We're in the 60s for the rest of the weekend. That's your forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
Here's your WSIC community calendar. MuralFest is back. April 25th through the 28th at Wilkes Community College. Featuring nearly 100 performers, including Old Crow Medicine Show, Sam Bush, Turnpike Troubadours, the Teskey Brothers, Nickel Creek, and more. Tickets and information at muralfest.org. Listen each morning to Good Morning LKN for your chance to win tickets. Downtown Mooresville's Shamrocks and Shenanigans is on its way. St. Patty's Day is right around the corner. The festival is happening in downtown Mooresville. Attending is free, but there are ticket packages available for purchase. Irish dancers, pipe bands, food, and drinks. March 16th, downtown Mooresville's Shamrocks and Shenanigans is on its way. For more info, visit downtownmooresville.com. Coin collectors, get ready! The Statesville Coin and Currency Show is coming to the Statesville Civic Center March 16th and 17th, featuring over 60 tables of some of the finest coins around. For more info, contact Bill Brewer of Carolina Prospectors in Statesville. The Statesville Coin and Currency Show, Statesville Civic Center, March 16th and 17th. Want to see a Tyrannosaurus Rex? How about a Triceratops? Dinosaur World Live is coming to Kane Center for the Arts, Friday, March 29th. That's not the only fun family adventure coming to the Kane Center for the Arts. Dinosaur World Live, Friday, March 29th. For tickets and to see the entire spring lineup, visit canearts.org. That's CAIN arts.org. Have an event you would like to tell people about? Visit WSICnews.com and click on events to submit your event today.
If you have an upcoming event, let WSIC spread the word. Go to WSICnews.com and click on the community calendar button. WSIC, proud to be part of your community.
WSIC is your home for NASCAR Cup Series racing. This weekend, it's the Pennzoil 400 at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Sunday, March 3rd at 2:30, right here on WSIC.
It's the News Drive at 5 with Patrick Reynolds on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC. Local starts here.
Welcome back to the News Drive at 5. Patrick Reynolds with you here on WSIC News Talk Radio. Coming at you on this Leap Day, Thursday, February the 29th, 2024, 5:18 p.m. Eastern Time with the News Drive at 5 headlines. 844-STUDIO-4. That's 844-STUDIO-4. We'd love to talk to you, hear from you, hear your thoughts. 844-788-3464. Get you live on air right here in the studio. Back to the News Drive at 5 headlines. Out of Raleigh, as a result of recent changes in state law, in-person early voting results will be reported later than usual on election night for the 2024 primary. This, in turn, may cause Election Day results to be reported later as well. Previously, county boards of elections could tabulate early voting results before the close of polls, then report those results almost immediately at 7:30 p.m. on election night. Under changes made in Session Law 2023-140, Section 29, county boards must wait until 7:30 p.m. to close the polls on early voting tabulators and begin the process of counting and reporting results of ballots cast during the early voting period. This process will take an estimated 30 to 60 minutes and possibly longer in some counties, before unofficial early voting results can be posted publicly on the State Board of Elections election results dashboard. Because the March 5th primary will be the first election held under the new law, election officials do not know exactly how long it will delay the reporting of results. State Board staff will monitor the situation throughout election night and assist county boards of elections if necessary. Karen Bell, executive director of the State Board of Elections, said, quote, "Those who watch election results in North Carolina have come to expect a large chunk of results very soon after polls close," end quote. Now, unlike early voting results, absentee by mail results can be tabulated before the polls close under state law. Those absentee results will likely be the first to appear publicly for any given county when the polls close. They will include all absentee ballots returned to the county board of elections before Election Day. Under state law, ballots returned on Election Day are approved and added to the vote totals during the 10-day period after Election Day, known as the canvass. Another law change requires absentee ballots to be returned to the voters' county board of elections no later than 7:30 p.m. on Election Day. Previously, a ballot that was put in the mail by Election Day and properly postmarked could be counted if it arrived by the third day after Election Day. That grace period no longer exists. Now, absentee voters should place their ballot in the mail with sufficient time for it to arrive at the County Board of Elections by Election Day. In Mooresville, Lowe's reported a drop in sales in the fourth quarter of 2023 compared with the same time this previous year, the home improvement retailer announced. The Mooresville-based company revealed that its sales for the quarter ending February 2nd were $18.6 billion, a 17% drop. Officials noted that the prior year quarterly sales included approximately $1.4 billion from the additional 53rd week, as well as nearly $1 billion generated from Canadian retail businesses. Comparable sales for the quarter decreased 6.2%, with Lowe's officials citing a slowdown in do-it-yourself demand and unfavorable January weather. In Charlotte, it rained over 7.25 inches, which is twice the normal amount. In late 2023, Lowe's reportedly laid off multiple workers in their IT department and had another round of layoffs in January. The company did report an increase in earnings per share from the final quarter of 2022. It produced $1.77 for the latest quarter, compared to $1.58 the year before. Marvin Ellison, Lowe's chairman, president, and CEO, said, "This quarter we delivered strong operating profit and improved customer satisfaction despite the continued pullback in do-it-yourself spending. We remain confident in the long-term strength of the home improvement market, and we are making the right investments in our total home strategy to take share," end quote. He also noted that $140 million in bonuses were provided for frontline workers. For the full fiscal year, Lowe's net earnings increased 20% to $7.7 billion, while sales fell 11% to $86.3 billion. Looking forward to its 2024 fiscal year, Lowe's projects total sales of $84 billion to $85 billion and comparable sales to be down 2 to 3% year over year. In Davidson, protecting and promoting the town's character while enhancing the level of local communication and potentially pursuing new paths of in-town and regional collaboration emerged as dominant topics during discussions of the town board's winter planning retreat. The two-day retreat on the North Carolina State University campus in Raleigh features a focused effort to reconfirm and, in some categories, redefine municipal priorities. And there was also an emphasis on team building and problem solving, designed to foster stronger working relationships between elected leaders and town staff while exploring the possibilities offered with fresh perspectives and revised approaches to complete town projects. Davidson's retreats, by design, are more about philosophy and possibilities than formal policies, with ideas and feedback shared during targeted discussions, compiled as reference material for the more fact-focused budget planning sessions in the horizon. However, the ultimate goal is to rename a game plan, implementing a strategic plan to maintain established prioritized objectives, like a well-planned and livable community. Those have involving circumstances. Following their established retreat formula, Davidson representatives began with a fresh SWOT, S-W-O-T, standing for Strengths, Weaknesses, Opportunities, and Threats, in a self-imposed analysis. The town's small-town character once again emerged as a frequently referenced strengths and positive assets to be protected, but also, due to it making Davidson a highly desirable place to live, a factor in the weakness and threat categories because demand keeps property values high, creating a substantial obstacle for obtaining housing programs and efforts to prevent gentrification. That type of point-counterpoint situation was common in retreat discussions, with multiple issues emerging as crossover topics under several SWOT umbrellas. Social media, for example, was identified as an attractive outlet for increasing direct communication with residents, but also cited as a potential threat through the distribution of misinformation. And along communication lines, while Davidson's small-town nature was identified as a good setting for obtaining input from residents, several retreat discussions focused on the importance of getting more and more diverse engagement in town policy discussions, while listing as weaknesses and threats categories, stressing the importance of listening to more voices, not just the loudest voices. Even the cherished small-town strength as a safe and secure community, as stressed by Police Chief Kim Davidson, can lead to resident behavior like unlocked doors or unsecured valuables that create weaknesses and threats through the unintended consequences of attracting illegal activity. While many SWOT topics like traffic congestion, pedestrian safety, and growth management were familiar refrains from previous retreats and town board sessions, the concept of more town collaboration with Davidson College, neighborhood groups, area agencies, neighboring towns, Mecklenburg County, and state legislatures was frequently referenced. Aligned with the collaboration goal and a general retreat theme of considering new approaches, Commissioner Steve Justice, participating in his first retreat, suggested some long-term town priorities like sustainability and climate change policies and attainable housing programs. Those also might be better addressed through large-scale regional efforts tapping resources from other areas. Now, following up on Justice's comments, event facilitator David Phillips challenged the Davidson representative, saying that while it's always a goal to find best practices to address municipal issues, what about considering new approaches? He told the group, quote, "Somebody has to be first," end quote. In summary, the Davidson retreat was not about nailing down absolute answers, but getting those in the room to agree on the questions. The process of finding answers with public input is what happens between the retreats. In other Davidson news, in a pre-retreat visit, town officials toured Cary Fire Station number 8, a groundbreaking climate showcase fire station, as they call it, a decade ago, and Cary's first municipal building using green building materials, including construction with low-emitting building materials, an efficient HVAC system, enhanced ventilation systems, extensive use of daylighting, rooftop solar panels, reclaimed water usage, and recycling and composting practices. The tour was aligned with Davidson's plan to build a new fire station number 1 on 2.7 acres in the southeast corner of the Griffith Street-Watson Street intersection across from the Sadler Square Shopping Center. The town acquired the property last October for $2.1 million, and preliminary plans call for a 16,800 square foot split-level facility with drive-through apparatus bays. Your News Drive at 5 continues on after the break. More local headlines here at WSIC News Talk and your phone calls. I am Patrick Reynolds. We will be right back.
for more of the News Drive at 5. News Drive at 5. Coming up on 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
Well, staying dry as we head into our Thursday night, but extra clouds on the increase and temperatures only dipping down into the mid-40s overnight. We'll start our Friday dry, but chilly rain on the way, arriving by lunchtime, and it'll be with us for the rest of our Friday. So your Friday evening plans will be wet, and it'll be chilly too, with high temperatures only near 50 tomorrow. A lingering shower as we kick off the weekend on Saturday morning, then we'll dry it out. We're into 60s for the rest of the weekend. That's your forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
Happening now at Randy Marion Ford Chevrolet in Statesville.
You know Randy Marion is always the place to buy your new or pre-owned car, truck, or SUV, but how about Randy Marion wants to buy your car? If you have an extra vehicle sitting in your driveway today, come bring them to Randy Marion Chevrolet stores in Statesville. We want to buy it. We will give you top dollar, give you what you're looking for, and get rid of that extra car in the driveway. Come see us today, Randy Marion Chevrolet in Statesville and Randy Marion Ford Lincoln.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Go with your gut. Your dog's immune system is based in the gut. A diet lacking in nutrients can cause itching, scratching, and a weak immune system. However, there is a solution. DINOVITE, Dinovite.
It took a grand total of 2 weeks. The dog stopped itching, the hair stopped falling out.
Try Dinovite for free. Just pay shipping and handling. Learn more at dinovite.com/radio.
Happier, healthier with every bite. Over 1 million pets helped with Dinovite.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
800-869-8560. 800-869-8560. 800-869-8560. That's 800-869-8560.
President Biden recently released a massive $6 trillion budget, the largest budget in U.S. history. And guess who pays the bill? That's right, you, the American taxpayer. American citizens and business owners will be paying more taxes. That's a fact. And if you owe back taxes, they will be coming after you to collect payments. In fact, President Biden also hired thousands more IRS agents to go after you. If you got a letter from the IRS and you know you owe back taxes or you haven't filed in years, don't put your head in the sand. Call us today. We've saved our customers millions of tax dollars. One quick, free phone call will show you how we can reduce your past tax bill and save you thousands. Guaranteed, or you pay nothing. Call now.
800-218-6440. 800-218-6440. 800.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. Jeff Bezos is betting on the robots. The Wall Street Journal says the Amazon founder is among a group of investors, including NVIDIA, OpenAI, and Microsoft, that poured $675 million into an artificial intelligence robotics company called Figure. It's working on a faceless, human-sized robot that can do things in place of humans. Figure has said it's already signed an agreement with BMW to use its robots in car manufacturing. Less than a month after Elon Musk's brain implant company, Neuralink, said it was cleared to test its implants in humans, the Food and Drug Administration has found problems with record-keeping and quality controls, Reuters says, in Neuralink's animal experiments. On Wall Street, some records. The S&P closed at a new high and the Nasdaq at its first record since November of 2021. All three averages rose a tenth to 1%, the Dow up 47, the Nasdaq 144, the S&P 27. Joan Doniger, Bloomberg Radio.
Call 844-STUDIO-4 now to join in the conversation on the News Drive at 5 with Patrick Reynolds on 105.9 100.7 WSI.
Welcome back to the News Drive at 5. Patrick Reynolds here with you on WSIC News Talk Radio for this Leap Day, February 29th, 2024, 5:35 p.m. 844-STUDIO-4, 844-788-3464 if you would like to join the program. Back to the News Drive at 5 headlines for you tonight in Cornelius. The Joshua Murray Boating Safety Education and Awareness Center is expected to open at Blythe Landing this spring with water safety education programs for the public. It will also be a training center prototype for water safety experts statewide. Cornelius Police Sergeant George Brinzy, a veteran of the town's Lake Patrol, said, quote, "This space inspired by our community aims to educate and empower new and novice boaters to become safety-minded operators," end quote. The center will have partnerships with law enforcement, U.S. Coast Guard auxiliary and rescue personnel, together with other various stakeholders, including North Carolina Wildlife Resources, Alcohol Beverage Control, National Safe Boating Council, and more, according to Elise and Cade Redmond of Float It Forward, a Cornelius-based nonprofit devoted to water safety. Brinzy said he anticipates wrapping up the center's construction and upfitting by mid-April, with a special dedication ceremony planned for May 18th, coinciding with the start of Boating Safety Week. The center is named for Joshua Murray, a Cornelius police officer who died in 2021 after a medical event while he was off duty. The son of Andrew Murray, former DA of Mecklenburg County, Joshua is a passionate advocate for boating safety. In Huntersville, the Lake Norman Chamber of Commerce has recognized Champion Tire and Wheel out of Cornelius for their outstanding continuous support of education and workforce development with the Inspire Our Future Award, presented by the Chamber and the Lake Norman Education Collaborative. In an inaugural partner of the Lake Norman Economic Development Pivot Program, Champion Tire and Wheel offered 9 student internships for high school students exploring the realm of manufacturing. Champion offered students the opportunity to study IT, engineering, mechanics, race and test shops, and more through its partnership of this 8-week program. In addition, Champion has also worked with the Lake Norman Education Collaborative to offer student tours to 75 high school students who participated in the Fall Journey 360 event. The company also provided tours of their facility and shared insight into the NASCAR industry for both the Chamber's leadership and junior leadership Lake Norman programs last fall. This allowed 24 adults and 16 high school students a behind-the-scenes look into their operations. Kevin Mall, Champion Tire and Wheel CEO, said, quote, "Not knowing what to expect when we took in the 2023 summer interns, we kept an open mind about the possibilities. They all came into Champion with a smile on their face and a great outlook. The students brought with them their youth, their eagerness to learn, and willingness to work hard at wherever we asked of them. It was a great experience for everyone involved. The whole experience left us with a sense of pride in helping to prepare the next generation of skilled workers that we all are going to need to continue the growth and prosperity in this area." 3 of the interns from last summer are still employed at Champion, 1 full-time and 2 part-time, end quote. Peter Kahn, a senior at Huff High, was one of the interns that now is considered to be full-time. He goes to his classic in the morning at Huff, then comes to Champion and puts in enough hours to give him full-time status. Khan shared, quote, "I got to see a lot of aspects of the business. I learned a lot and allowed me a hands-on experience that I feel like I wouldn't have gotten anywhere else," end quote. In Statesville, the Fort Dobbs Artisan Farmers Market will begin a new season on Tuesday, March the 5th. Located in the picnic shelter at Fort Dobbs State Historic Site, the market brings together local farmers, crafters, and artists, all with unique and delicious goods for sale. Market will operate from 3 to 5:30 p.m. on the first and third Tuesday of each month through December. Vendors must pre-register and meet North Carolina Department of Revenue qualifications for doing business. Fort Dobbs is located on Fort Dobbs Road in Statesville. The historic site's mission is to preserve and interpret the history of Fort Dobbs and North Carolina's role in the French and Indian War. It is open Tuesday through Saturday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Back to news in Huntersville. The latest scout to join the illustrious Eagle Scout ranks at BSA Troop 19 is 17-year-old David Mason. Mason's journey to Eagle Scout started 10 years ago when he and his father, Matthew Mason, got involved with PAC 19 at Huntersville Presbyterian Church in the Mecklenburg County Council. Over the years, Mason has learned about leadership, citizenship, and Scout and life skills. Mason is also part of the Honor Society for Scouts, the Order of the Arrow, and has served in multiple leadership positions in both the troop and council. The road to becoming an Eagle Scout is difficult, with only approximately 6% of the Scouts earning that rank. To achieve his goal, Mason spent several months working with Troop 19 Scoutmaster Larry Banks, the Troop 19 Eagle Committee, and the Mecklenburg County Council Eagle staff to review and approve his project plan and approach. Mason proposed a solution to increase youth engagement, improve youth communication with each other, help youth develop friendships, and spread Scout spirit. Mason chose for his Eagle project to benefit the youth group at Lake Forest Church in Huntersville because he cares deeply about others. Mason said, quote, "The impact our church can have on my generation is huge. I want to be part of bringing youth to Lake Forest Church," end quote. Mason received the Eagle rank in August 17th of 2023 and will celebrate the honor with friends and family this coming Saturday, March the 2nd. Isabella DiFiore, she's the daughter of Steve and Jennifer DiFiore, was crowned 2024's Miss Blue Ridge Valley Teen in Asheville last week. In June, she will be competing with 44 other teen delegates in the Miss North Carolina Scholarship Program in High Point for the Miss North Carolina Teen title. Miss North Carolina is part of the Miss America organization, and the state title holders, Miss North Carolina and Miss North Carolina Teen, both have the opportunity to compete at Miss America for the national titles. Isabella is a freshman at Statesville High School and attends the Statesville High School IB program. She is also in the high school dance magnet program, a Crosby Scholars Ambassador and an officer, and a Statesville High School Renaissance Award recipient. In Lincoln County, participation in senior games in Lincoln County is ever growing, with more and more competitors joining in on what local coordinator Missy Calloway describes as a great way for people over 50 and older to stay active and continue the sports and activities they enjoy. She said, quote, "Participants love the thrill of competition, but many find the real value in making new friends and relationships that last well beyond the games." With over 20 sports and a variety of silver arts, which are creative and performing arts, there's something for everyone. Registration opens March 1st and runs through March the 28th. In Davidson, a pre-concert conversation is scheduled with the Poisoned Dwarf Celtic Ensemble. Yes, that's the band name. The band members will introduce themselves and their instruments and discuss the Irish and Scotic music traditions of their repertoire to celebrate St. Patrick's Day. Poison's Dwarf is a Celtic group that plays innovative and passionate renditions of traditional Irish and Scottish music on acoustic instruments. St. Albans Episcopal Church will host them on St. Patrick's Day at 2 p.m. News Drive at 5. Headlines continue on. I'm Patrick Reynolds. We'll be back right after the break.
We'll be back with more of the News Drive at 5 with Patrick Reynolds in just a moment on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC.
Well, staying dry as we head into our Thursday night, but extra clouds on overnight. We'll start our Friday dry, but chilly rain on the way, arriving by lunchtime, and it'll be with us for the rest of our Friday. So your Friday evening plans will be wet, and it'll be chilly too, with high temperatures only near 50 tomorrow. A lingering shower as we kick off the weekend on Saturday morning. Then we'll dry it out. We're in the 60s for the rest of the weekend. That's your forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
Here's your WSIC community calendar. MuralFest is back. April 25th through the 28th at Wilkes Community College. Featuring nearly 100 performers, including Old Crow Medicine Show, Sam Bush, Turnpike Troubadours, the Teskey Brothers, Nickel Creek, and more. Tickets and information at muralfest.org. Listen each morning to Good Morning LKN for your chance to win tickets. Downtown Mooresville's Shamrocks and Shenanigans is on its way. St. Patty's Day is right around the corner. The festival is happening in downtown Mooresville. Attending is free, but there are ticket packages available for purchase. Irish dancers, pipe bands, food, and drinks. March 16th. Downtown Mooresville's Shamrocks and Shenanigans is on its way. For more info, visit downtownmooresville.com. Coin collectors, get ready! The Statesville Coin and Currency Show is coming to the Statesville Civic Center March 16th and 17th, featuring over 60 tables of some of the finest coins around. For more info, contact Bill Brewer of Carolina Prospectors in Statesville. The Statesville Coin and Currency Show, Statesville Civic Center, March 16th and 17th. Want to see a Tyrannosaurus Rex? How about a Triceratops? Dinosaur World Live is coming to Kane Center for the Arts, Friday, March 29th. That's not the only fun family adventure coming to the Kane Center for the Arts. Dinosaur World Live, Friday, March 29th. For tickets and to see the entire spring lineup, visit canearts.org. That's CAINarts.org. Have an event you would like to tell people about? Visit WSICnews.com and click on events to submit your event today.
Prioritizing your health is one of the best ways to take care of yourself. From routine visits to the joys of pregnancy to the illnesses that stop you in your tracks, Iredell Health System will be by your side. Learn more at iredellhealth.org.
Be a part of the conversation.
We can't fix America's debt by starving its people.
Have your say.
One shooting after another, and we're doing nothing to solve it?
This is WSIC News Talk Now.
The News Drive at 5 continues now on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC. Here's your host, Patrick Reynolds.
Well, at 5 here in WSIC News Talk, Patrick Reynolds alongside you on this Thursday Leap Day, February 29th, 2024, 5:48 p.m. Eastern Time, heading towards the scoreboard at 6 o'clock with Joe Berg. Right now, recapping our top stories from tonight's News Drive at 5. Davidson businesswoman Trudy Zangardi has been arrested on felony tax charges filed by the North Carolina Department of Revenue. Zangardi was charged with 3 counts of aid and abet embezzlement of state property. Indictment charges that Zangardi, sole member of the Zan Group, aided and abetted 3 businesses to embezzle, misapply, and convert to its own use approximately $59,700 in sales tax from January 1st, 2020 through March 31st, 2022. She is the owner-operator of Lake Norman Cottage and the Cabin, as well as the Barrel in Mooresville. Zangardi appeared before a Mecklenburg County magistrate and was placed under a $50,000 unsecured bond. The first appearance is scheduled for March 15th, 2024 in Wake County Superior Court in Raleigh. The charges against Zangardi resulted from an investigation by special agents with the department's Criminal Investigations Division in Raleigh. A Statesville man faces felony drug charges after being apprehended by an Iredell County Sheriff's Office deputy following a pursuit. Sheriff Darren Campbell announced the arrest of Charles Smith Jr. of East Broad Street, Statesville. Deputy Sharp, who is assigned to the Iredell County Sheriff's Office Aggressive Criminal Enforcement Team, observed a motorcycle traveling east on Salisbury Road with no working taillights and a passenger who was not wearing a helmet earlier this week. When Deputy Sharp got behind the motorcycle, the driver made eye contact and accelerated at a high rate of speed. Smith, who was driving the motorcycle, stopped on Old Salisbury Road. At that time, the deputy learned that Smith had a suspended driver's license and the registration plate displayed on the rear of the motorcycle was fictitious. During the traffic stop, Sergeant Line and K-9 Wilbur arrived on the scene to provide assistance to the deputy. K-9 Wilbur indicated on the motorcycle and the belongings of the driver and passenger. The deputies searched the items and located over 2.7 grams of cocaine, 1.28 grams of methamphetamine, and 3.28 grams of marijuana. The female passenger was issued a citation for failing to wear a helmet and released from the traffic stop. Smith was placed under arrest and transported to the Iredell County Detention Center, where he was brought before Magistrate Callejas, who issued no bond on the charges of felony possession of cocaine, felony possession of methamphetamine, felony maintaining a vehicle for a controlled substance, 3 misdemeanor drug charges, and 4 motor vehicle infractions. A judge set his bond at $100,000. Update on a story that we reported on earlier this week on the news drive at 5. In Huntersville, crews responded on Saturday night around 11 p.m. to a wooded area near exit 23 off of I-77, which is Gilead Road, and they found a single vehicle overturned. At that time, officials said no driver or patients were found after an extensive search that included looking inside and under the vehicle. However, yesterday, officials said that an operator was found on a side street not far from the scene. It is unknown at this time what led up to the crash and if any other vehicles were involved. This is a developing story still under investigation. The news drive at 5 will keep you in the loop as we get information. In Mooresville, a giant sinkhole in the parking lot of Tire Masters, a local business, is forcing it to close its doors for good. Tire Masters has served the Mooresville community for nearly 3 decades, but in September 2020, a massive sinkhole opened in its parking lot when a metal pipe and culvert system failed underground. The pipe burrowed through 50,000 tons of Duke Energy coal ash, which is structural fill. That's the equivalent of more than 4,000 large dump truck loads that redirected 500 feet of an all-season creek under North Carolina 150. The creek was then redirected above ground and into a Lake Norman tributary, a source of drinking water for 1 million people. In Denver, in the first ever partisan Lincoln County Board of Education election, only one of the 4 seats up for grabs will require a primary to determine a party's candidate. Incumbent Heather Ryan is being challenged by Ann Samuelson for the Republican nomination to fill an at-large seat on the board. Now, the Lincoln County Board of Commissioners hasn't seen a Democrat elected since 1998, and that trend will continue in 2024. The lack of a Democratic challenger means the top 3 finishers from the field of 7 in the Tuesday, March 5th Republican primary will be elected to the board. Incumbents Carol Mitchum and Anita McCall are each seeking another term, Well, former long-term commissioner Alex Patton is back in the mix, and the likes of Glenn Fiskus, Mark Mullen, Robert Avery, and Trent Carpenter are eager to serve for the first time. News out of Raleigh. As a result of recent changes in state law, in-person early voting results will be reported later than usual on election night for the 2024 primary. This, in turn, may cause Election Day results to be reported later as well. Previously, county boards of elections could tabulate early voting results before the close of polls, then report those results almost immediately at 7:30 p.m. on election night. Under changes made, Session Law 2023-140, Section 29, county boards must wait until 7:30 p.m. to close the polls on early voting tabulators and begin the process of counting and reporting results of ballots cast during the early voting period. This process will take an estimated 30 to 60 minutes and possibly longer in some counties before unofficial early voting results can be posted publicly on the State Board of Elections results dashboard. Because the March 5th primary will be the first election held under the new law, election officials do not know exactly how long it will delay the reporting of results. State Board staff will monitor the situation throughout election night and assist county boards of elections if necessary. Karen Bell, executive director of the State Board of Elections, said, quote, "Those who watch election results in North Carolina have come to expect a large chunk of results very soon after polls close," end quote. Unlike early voting results, absentee by-mail results can be tabulated before the polls close under state law. Those absentee results will likely be the first to appear publicly for any given county when the polls close. They will include all absentee ballots returned to the county boards of elections before Election Day. Under state law, ballots returned on Election Day are approved and added to the vote totals during the 10-day period after Election Day, known as the canvass. Another law change requires absentee ballots to be returned to the voters' county board of elections no later than 7:30 p.m. on Election Day. Previously, a ballot that was put in the mail by Election Day and properly postmarked could be counted if it arrived by the third day after Election Day. Well, that grace period no longer exists. Now, absentee voters should place their ballots in the mail with sufficient time for it to arrive at the County Board of Elections by Election Day. We are coming up on the top of the hour, and is how it is every day here at Weekdays in WSIC News following the news drive at 5. My audio producer, Joe Berg, takes off the engineering hat and puts on the host hat and kicks it off with the scoreboard, 6 p.m. weeknights. Joe, how you doing tonight, man?
I'm doing great. It's an interesting day in the world of sports.
We have been chatting in between commercial breaks about the scoreboard and what's going on. What can you tease the audience about? You've told me a lot. What do you want to let the audience know about? What do you want to clue them in on?
Well, there's a Formula One story that we're going to talk about.
Right. Okay. All right.
This one, I didn't talk about it too much as it was going on because internal investigations are not my favorite thing in the world because, they never find anything.
Right.
But we'll talk about that in Formula One. Jerry Jones is in the news today.
Cowboys owner.
Yes, he's in the news today. So we got an interesting story with him. Baseball, the Phillies did something wildly unpopular. I mean, there's a lot happening. Plus high school baseball.
The scoreboard show sounds like a show not to be missed tonight.
No, I think today is going to be a fun one.
I always listen to the scoreboard as I head to my next thing. Little tease, I'll be back tomorrow for the news drive at 5 here. Guess what else I'm doing tomorrow?
Are you hosting something?
I am hosting something. I got a text earlier this week from one North Carolina senator, Vicky Sawyer, said her and her co-host, David Coble of We're Just Saying, are both traveling tomorrow. So, 11 a.m. on Friday on WSIC, I will be in our Cornelius studios, and I will be hosting We're Just Saying.
How about that?
I've got an hour of free time. I asked Vicky, I said, anything you want to talk to me to talk about? She goes, nah, go ahead, it's yours. So I've got an hour of free time. I'll be back here at 5 p.m. for the News Drive at 5 headlines.
Sounds good.
Yeah, looking forward to tomorrow. 11 a.m. and 5 p.m. tomorrow. You get to hear my dulcet tones. Joe Berg coming up next with the scoreboard. Good job on the board tonight, man. We'll see you guys tomorrow, 11 a.m.
Serving you better than ever before. 105.9, 100.7, WSIC.